In central Manchester, a man has been kidnapped at gun in front of his family. Police suspect it's the work of an organised crime group or OCG. Julie is watching body cam footage recorded by officers who arrived at the victim's house shortly after he was taken. The case has been passed to Julie team, overseen by DC Allen. The victim of the kidnapping was tortured for almost a day and then realized after a ransom was paid. Police suspect the victim is a wealthy drug dealer. He is not currently cooperating with the investigation. After briefly losing the Mercedes in a pursuit and police intercepted the car. Inside there was only Paris inside. Although police did not have enough evidence to pass, they suspect that he was involved in the kidnap and fear gang may be planning more attacks across the city. The major incident team consists of 150 detectives divided into 10 units and dealing with most of the city's most serious crimes. John is head of serious and organized crime. The main focus of the unit is now urgently identifying all of the men responsible for the kidnap and determining whether Paris was one of them. After putting out a force-wide alert, Julie receives a call from a covert officer who saw the Mercedes Paris was arrested in and outside a suspect crack house on the day of the kidnap. The officer sends Julie surveillance footage of several men leaving the property. Paris was spotted in the video. With a warrant issued, police head to the address where they suspected the victim was tortured. The only person they found in the crack house is a female drug dealer. With the help of the forensic unit, officers begin to search the property for evidence of kidnappers. Paris links to the suspect's address is circulated as wanted. Julie searches his criminal records for links to know his associates. 4 weeks after the first kidnap, police receive reports of a second attack. 3 hours later, officers find a victim on the street, bound and badly beaten. Julie and the team's suspect thinks the same gang of kidnappers targeted the victim due to his drug dealer connections. Despite similarities between the two kidnaps, detectives don't yet have the evidence to prove they were carried out by the same gang. Along with the Tiguan, a bloodstained VW Golf is also discovered, abandoned near to where the victim was, and GPS data is extracted from the onboard computer of both cars. Examining the Tiguan, officers make a further discovery of 4 plates attached together. A number plate recognition database search reveals a Tiguan using the 4 number plates recorded at the location of the first kidnap. The unit is now confident the 2 kidnaps are linked. Significantly, they have just discovered CCTV of the gang. During the second kidnap, the camera captures the second kidnap victim being transferred between the Tiguan and the Golf. That incident showed a baseball cap falling off his head. Officers are now confident that a baseball cap found at the same was worn by one of the kidnappers. Distinctive bullets were also discovered on the ground near the abandoned Tiguan, including the driver. The footage shows a total of 5 men involved in the kidnap. Police suspect Paris and Darren were 2 of the 5 men. The forensic test on tools and other items, found at the house where police suspect the first kidnap victim was tortured, have just retained some significant results. Julie travels to an inner-city custody unit to interview Paris after finding him. Confirm this with new evidence. Before beginning the interview with Paris, Julie meets with legal representative Vicky. At Nexus House, the unit is working with specialist CCTV analysts to identify the 4 other suspects' gang members. Alan has asked head of serious organized crime John to expedite forensics results on the caped drop at the scene of the second kidnap. DNA found on the cap gives the units a new suspect, Carlos. Andrea, head of tactical firearm team, goes to get Carlos. Following the discovery of a revolver and bullets, police across Carlos, both women that were in his house, and the second man, Blake. After spending the night in a cell, Paris is taken for further interview with Julie, this time covering the second kidnap. Julie begins to reveal the evidence against Paris, piece by piece. Following discussion with the Crown Prosecution Service, charges agreed for Paris related to the first kidnap. He will remain under investigation for the second. Due to the seriousness of the charges, the danger police believe Paris poses, he will be remanded in prison until trial. Carlos and the 3 people found with him at the house where the revolver was discovered are checked into custody, whilst the gun is fast-tracked for forensic analysis. Detectives being interviewing each of the suspects. GPS data download from the Gulf involved in the second kidnapping just came through. It precisely reveals the route traveled by the vehicle on the day of the attack. With the VW Golf situated outside his address on the day it was used in the first kidnap, the unit now has strong reason to suspect that Blake was involved. The team meets to discuss all the evidence against all of the suspects. The unit still suspect Darren as the gang boss, responsible for orchestrating the kidnaps, but they don't currently have enough evidence to arrest him. DNA analysis of the revolver suspected of being used in both kidnaps has been concluded. The results are sent through to the team. The forensic results give police evidence to issue a warrant for the arrest of Darren. The DNA results also give new police new information to put Blake. Carlos is bailed pending further investigation. The 2 women from where the gun was found are released, but with his DNA on the gun, GPS data linking him to the kidnapper's car and phone evidence that shows he was at both locations of both attacks, the CPS agree multiple charges for Blake. 5 months after the first kidnap and after several weeks on the run, the suspected boss of the kidnap gang, Darren, hands himself into the police. Darren was convicted of blackmail for his part in the first kidnap. Sentenced to 12 years in prison. Paris was convicted of false imprisonment and blackmail for his part in the first kidnap. He was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Blake was convicted of GBH, possession of a firearm, blackmail, false imprisonment and kidnap. He was sentenced to 19 years in prison. Carlos was charged with kidnap but found not guilty at trial. An additional gang member, Elliott, was identified by face recognition experts. He was convicted of false imprisonment and blackmail for his part in the first kidnap. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison.